So welcome both Fred and Tom. I really appreciate you joining tonight. And what I wanted to do this evening is just, as you both know me, I think pretty well. I won't go into too much of a detail as far as my background. I know I've worked with both of you on club coaching before, and just wanted to maybe provide to you maybe just some inspiration and motivation maybe for the last month and a half here, and then maybe answer your questions if something as far as your term with your current club doesn't pan out as far as getting your club to distinguish by the end of June, then we will just go for another round in 2018, 2019, starting in July. So I wanted to at least give you some opportunities to help. Rob, did you just join?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining, Rob. And let me introduce myself to you. I don't think I've gotten to know you yet, but I want you to know a little bit about me. My name is Scott Holahan, and I'm the Assistant Club Growth Director here in District 40. I work with Don Schultze, who is the Club Growth Director in District 40. And I've been working specifically in the club coach area to try to help recruit coaches and to also support coaches that are assigned by the district. So tonight, really what I wanted to do was to reach out to the current club coaches, all of which you are, and I wanted to just go through a couple things with regards to just some resources that might be out there that you can latch onto, maybe get a little bit of inspiration and motivation with regards to your specific coaching responsibilities so that you might be able to finish out the year and get your club to distinguish. Yes, we only have about a month and a half in the Toastmasters year. However, depending on your situation, you may be able to get them to distinguish. So I wanted to offer that, and then if you don't get your club to distinguish by the end of June, maybe to answer your questions with regards to what happens next year for each of your respective clubs. So first of all, I wanted to maybe give you an opportunity to just see. Have you each of you seen this first class club coach training? I don't want to go into it too much in detail if you've already seen it. Have you seen it before?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure
Rob, I
either.
have not.
You have, Rob?
No, I have not.
Okay. And Tom, you have or have not?
I'm not sure. I can't tell from
Okay.
the title
Okay.
page.
Okay. So let me just go through, and I'm going to talk to these very briefly, and what I want to do also is to maybe show you some resources with respect to the dashboard reports so that you can see, if you don't already know how to get your DCP for DCP status for your club. I want to assume that you don't know how to get that unless you already do know how to do that. So I want to kind of go through that. That's kind of my objective, to make sure that you know where to look for reports, maybe who's assigned coaches that you might be able to network with, or to be able to at some point in time answer any specific questions that you may have, and maybe even take a look at each of your three situations, and then maybe I can give you some advice, or maybe things that you've already thought of, but maybe there's some things that you haven't already thought of that you can kind of strategize and plan out. So that was kind of my really focuses for current, and maybe even get some coaches that have had some recent success. But I think all of you are currently club coaches. Is that correct? Rob, I
Yes.
think you're a club coach.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, super. So what I'm going to do, just kind of walk through this real quick, and hopefully I won't bore you too much. But basically, I think you understand the club coach qualifications. You probably already knew them before you even signed up for it. Why a club coach is needed, and how to. I want to really maybe focus on some ways that you can be an effective club coach. So as you well know, a club coach is there to observe, analyze, build rapport, help develop the club goals. Again, the DCP is your scorecard to achieve those goals. Just to again try to instill as best as you possibly can enthusiasm and a sense of responsibility. That's so important, but it's very, very difficult depending on the people that you work with. There may be some very difficult people that are bent or that are strictly about what they want, and it's very difficult to try to maybe break them a little bit in terms of maybe thinking about it a different way if things aren't working, whether it's getting people to be signed up for roles or getting open houses or members in there and signed up. Again, it's your opportunity to help develop team building skills. Really, that's another thing that's why you do this. Expand your leadership experience to be able to know how to deal with different situations as a leader, difficult situations, also with great situations. Maybe you lack some praising or encouragement and just saying, hey, you did a great job there, keep the momentum going, let me know what I can do to help. Those diplomacy skills, when things aren't working out, again, you're trying to be a diplomat to work things out amongst the club. If there's some infighting there, maybe there's some common ground that you guys can work on to be able to make the club go forward. So, and you probably wouldn't be doing this unless you were looking to get some sort of ALS credit, Advanced Leader Silver credit, which is the club coach is just one part of that. And then again, I think you guys understand this as far as qualification. The only qualification is that you're not a member of that club. That's the simplest. You're not a member of that club upon appointment. That's the key differentiator. The key differentiator is upon appointment. You can be a member of the club, which Fred, I think you said you just joined their club after you were assigned.
Yeah, I've been
as a
with the
coach.
club for almost a year now.
So that's one thing that you may or may not know. You can join the club. So I think, Tom, are you a member at Unity as well?
I'm a member at Unity. I just took over Vice President Education.
Oh,
Our current, the one we
welcome.
had, sort of bowed out.
Wow. Okay, so you've been indoctrinated pretty quick. Good for you.
Well,
So anyways, Rob, I'm not sure what your situation is, but you can be a part of the club after you are appointed to be a club coach. I think you understand another qualification. This is the club qualification. The club has to have 12 or fewer members. And again, the club does not have you as a member when you're assigned. So I think we just went over that. So really, making those club connections, observing the club dynamics, develop, personal rapport with members, really seek out those people who are really looking forward to making a difference in the club and making a difference for themselves as well. To gain their trust and respect, that's also important, and you're not going to get very far if you just kind of observe and not really try to get interactive with them. And hopefully you understand and you receive from Toastmasters International the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide. Have each of you guys seen that or tried to use it yet?
I'm familiar
Fred,
with it.
are you
Yeah,
familiar with
mine
it?
was,
Rob, have you seen this Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide? It's kind of like a
So I
PDF,
received a
couple page.
packet from TI after I signed up to coach, and it had the guide on how to be distinguished
Okay.
and I think something else in it maybe, but I don't necessarily remember seeing something called the Club Coach Troubleshooting Guide, so that might be new to me.
Okay. It's basically a scorecard if you were to rate the club in several different areas in what they call the moments of truth. And you basically, look at a spectrum 1 through 5, 1 being low, 5 being high in that spectrum, whichever moment of truth aspect you're looking at. So it's kind of a rating scale. You observe and you say, how well are they doing in this aspect of moments of truth? Whether it's, engaging members or some other aspects of the moments of truth. So you kind of observe and you say, well, these guys really stink at it. So that you might rate them a 1. And then there might be an aspect of, do they fellowship really well, that sort of thing, or I don't know the exact moments of truth by heart, to be honest with you, but if you were to rate them, you'd come across, areas where they may need some focus. And Tom, have you come across this one as well?
I may have seen it.
Okay.
Again,
Okay.
one of the things on the list is to go through all the literature for Toastmasters that I've received and have stashed away.
Sounds like they've got a whole bunch of stuff. Well, let me go and maybe just for sakes of purpose here, I think it might be good for me to go to the Toastmasters International website and maybe find that troubleshooting guide. I think it's, if you were to do a search, if you were to literally search on this, I believe that these will come up. So this is, I just want to see the worksheet. Hopefully it'll come up here. So this is something that you may or may not have seen. So, do the members really want their club to be successful? If you can rate them, if they're on fire but they're just struggling, then you can say, hey, they're on fire, they want to be there, so that's a 5. And then the other end of the spectrum, members don't seem to care whether the club succeeds or fails. If they just kind of go through the motions, really bad, then maybe that's a 1. And then, maybe there's some corrective action there, some suggestive corrective action if they're struggling there. Convince members that they will gain meaningful benefits. There's, I can give you guys the benefits. There's a 1-page benefits of Toastmasters, which hopefully can re-inspire them or reinvigorate them to see what the benefits really are and that they want to be successful. So this is just one of the examples. There's, I think, a couple of pages here, maybe 10, 15 questions that you can use to kind of gauge your club. So here's, just some other things here, making the club connection. I think that, won't read all of these. Again, emphasize teamwork. Tell them that they're not alone, that that we're there to help, or you're there to help, and that to try to inspire the officers to also take that sense of responsibility and teamwork to help out. There's the status check. I'm not sure if you guys have conducted what's called the moments of truth. That's also you can be that can be found. Maybe that's something that they already gave you in the TI packet, but you can also find it on the TI website by just typing that in the search box and being able to find it. And notice I didn't even log into TI, so if you have login issues, you can just go ahead and search there. And this is really, again, to help identify the strengths and the challenges, like the Club Coach troubleshooting guide, but you can also look at the moments of truth. If the club really struggles at leadership, maybe there's an opportunity, if they haven't seen the club leadership handbook, just to kind of review that with them. They all should have received the club leadership handbook at the beginning of the year, as Toastmasters sends those out to each of the clubs, so that they can distribute those to their new officers. Hopefully you're seeing the officers finish out their term, and that they're also looking at leaders for starting the following year. Whether or not your club becomes distinguished, I think it's an important thing to help transition that club from their current leadership to the new leadership. And it'll especially be important if you are going to continue on as a club coach starting in July 1st. Maybe you can even help instill confidence in other people who want to maybe take a leadership role. So I'll also try to help you with some tools tonight as well. And I think we've already kind of talked some of these things about what are quality clubs. Again, your goal is to get the club distinguished. That means that, just as a reiteration, that means that the club needs to have at least 20 members, or if you started, let's say, at less than 15 members at the beginning of the year in July of 2017, then you'll need to add 5 more. So let's take an example of a club started out at, let's say, 11. They were qualified as a club that needed a coach. You were assigned a coach when they were at 11, and now they need to get to 16 or higher. Okay, so that's the 5 net new. So they need to be at 16 or higher in order for the membership aspect of the DCP to be fulfilled. So it's not just about the 10 goals that you see, it's also about that membership. Again, 20 members at a minimum, or a net 5 new. Net 5 new. So there are some clubs that maybe started out, let's say at 18. They were doing so-so, they were doing okay, and then let's say they dropped to like 11, or let's say 9. Let's say they dropped in half. They dropped to 9. Now, even though they went to 9, they started out at 18. So they need to get to 20. So that means that they have to add 11 new members in order for them to get back to square. Now, they all don't have to be 11. If some of those 9 that left rejoin, that's a good thing. That just takes away the amount of new members that you have to add. But the bottom line is you have to get to 20 to be able to accomplish that DCP. They haven't had a chance to get the DCP goals. We'll get to those here in a little bit.
Okay, can you
Yep,
go
go
over
ahead,
that?
Tom. Do you have a question there?
How does this net 5 new members work again? Does that mean
Sure.
if you were down at 11 and you get it up to 16, you're okay, or do you have to get it another 4 to get it up to 20?
That's a great question. Let's look up a club, and maybe let's look at your club here.
Okay, who? You want Unity?
Yeah, let me see. I think it was Unity Club, which that'll eliminate a lot of things here. I think it's B15 4695.
Okay.
So this is your club here, Tom, and it looks like you have 4 goals met already. That's the DCP goals. That's the ones down here. And it looks like your base, you started out at 20. Okay, so here's that membership criteria that's really important right in the center. So you see that you started the year in July of 2017 at 20 members. You dropped down at 12 or below, and that's why you were assigned a club coach. You're currently at 14, so you've added a couple of members. That's great, but it says required 20.
Okay.
Because that's what I just mentioned. It's 20 members or a net growth of 5 new members. So in your case, you started at 20. You need to get back to 20.
A year ago, or June 30th, 2017, they were at 20. And
That's
now
correct.
by the time I got involved in September, they were down around, I think, 11. Now we need to get up another 4. Another 6.
You need to get 6 more. So you're at 14 now currently. You'll need to add 6 more by the end of June. Now, if you add 6 more, let's see what that does down here. It looks like that if you added 6 brand new members, you will accomplish goal number 8. And if you accomplish goal number 8, you will get this number to 5. And that number to 5 will get you distinguished. It's the minimum distinguished, and you will be a successful club coach, and you will be credited.
So All right. So that's
So you
for
need to,
me.
again, six brand new members will get you to 20. It will also kick in number 8 goal down here because that will go to 4 at least. These have to be new members. So if there are some members that left and then are coming back, it does not affect number 8 because they are more or less reinstated. They're not new. They're reinstated. So really the key is of these 6 that you get, 3 of them have to be brand new in order for you to get credit for number 8.
Okay. 3 brand new members.
Yep. So if there's somebody, an alternate, if you reinstate 6 members or old members, unfortunately you may not get number 8. However, as a backup plan, you need 1 more CC. So if you've got a person that's really close to being a CC, let's say probably 7, 8, or 9 speeches into their CC, there's a fighting chance that you might be able to get them enough face time or enough speech time to get them to that CC.
Okay. Well, I think I got the paperwork to submit um, for 5 here.
Okay. And if the CC doesn't work out, CLs are they're relatively simple. I mean, they're probably a little more easy to do than a CC. Hopefully, people have collected and tracked their leadership roles in the club meetings over the past whatever year or two. CL manual can be filled in hopefully rather quickly.
The challenge partly that I'm looking at is we've got some people who have been active for 5, 6, 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And the club president dropped me off about the award paperwork that she hadn't gotten in for herself yet.
Yep.
So one of that will give me, I think, give the club number, will give her the advanced leadership bronze.
Okay, super. So an ALB, that'll probably kick in number 5.
Yes.
And that'll get you to 5 goals met. So then you can really focus on those 6 members.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So hopefully that gives you a real life example there, Rob or Fred. That obviously we looked at Tom's situation there, but
okay. Now, can I ask you another question?
yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Talk about. Okay. So there's the 6 alternative. Okay, and they got those down. All right. So the other thing would be 4 folks to level 1.
Correct. So there's the P1 through P6 are the pathways levels. Then there's also some DCP opportunities there. For level 1s seems like a really difficult thing to do. A level 1 in pathways is basically 3 speeches and an evaluation, I believe.
I think you got.
It depends on the path.
Oh, okay.
I'm on dynamic leadership, and it's 4 speeches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Evaluation.
You got.
There's the icebreaker. Level number 2 is speech number 1, and then you have to repeat the speech again.
After you've been evaluated?
Yeah. And then you get evaluated. And then, of course, you have to have somebody critique you as an evaluator.
Right.
And then there's another speech after that.
Okay, so there's probably 4 in some cases.
There's 4 speeches in dynamic leadership.
Okay, and level 1 is the same in all paths. Not the same.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Yeah,
we're talking 4 speeches.
Yeah, 4, I think, including the evaluation.
No, 4 excluding.
Oh, 4 excluding the evaluation. So 4 or
Yeah.
5 to 7 minuters, if you will.
Yeah, you have the icebreaker, and the first step is the icebreaker,
Okay.
and then the second step you do a speech, and then you have to repeat the speech at another date, and then somebody critiques you as an evaluator,
Okay.
and then the next step after that is another speech,
Okay.
or at least that's
It's
the way the
probably more of
dynamic.
a reflective.
Yeah.
Is it more of a
At least that's
reflective
more. At
one?
least that's more of a at least that's the way it is for dynamic leadership. I can't speak for the other paths.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one of
Rob,
the things. Oh,
yeah,
no.
Rob, do you have any other questions? Do you have any questions on DCP and what we're showing here?
No, I'm familiar. I'm president of Heartbeat right now. We're
Okay,
tracking
perfect.
towards President's Distinguished, and
Beautiful.
then I'm helping coach Kitty Hawk. Their real challenge is membership. They unfortunately have a base of 15, so they've got to get back to 20, and they're down to like 9 right now or so. So we've got a little bit of a steep road ahead on membership.
Yeah.
We
Oh boy.
we have some assets. We have some really experienced members. There's 2 or 3 at least DTMs
Mm-hmm.
in the club already. Kathy Hayes and John Hayes in particular. Kathy's very active in the district. She's, I think, assisting Michael right now as division, like assistant division director for Division A.
Yep.
She's the president of Kitty Hawk, so there's a number of assets, and they do have, as it looks like you just pulled it up there, so it looks,
Yep.
as you can see, they've got
That's
4 gold already. So if they were to add membership, they would easily get at least distinguished, if not
2
higher.
others. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So anyhow, so I have a pretty good handle on it. We just need to, I think, really strategize and try to figure out how to build membership.
Right. Have you guys done open houses or anything like that?
Not yet. We're
Not
talking
yet.
about doing one
Okay.
very soon. So
Okay. We just had a Rob, were you on the recent one that David Hill did on open houses? And
no, I wasn't.
okay, David's got some really good advice. I can send you on our YouTube channel. We've got about a 35 to 40 minute recording of some club membership drives or that sort of thing, open houses, some advice maybe to do on that, practical advice.
Okay.
So I don't know if you subscribe to YouTube or if you can go to our D40 members Toastmasters site. There's also some recordings on there as well. We try to create a couple channels for people to get the recorded webinars so that they can kind of review them at their own leisure, their own time.
Okay.
So I can get you that afterwards.
Oh,
Get him, Pooch.
yeah. Okay. I may have something a little bit unusual.
All right, friend.
Neptune, quiet. I will end. There may be a possibility that we may be over 20 regarding membership if the open house succeeded today.
Well, I see OCLC here.
As you can see, we've already made the +5.
Yeah.
What would happen if OCLC goes over 20? And I would not get the leadership credit because of because the 5th goal has not been met.
Correct. So you need 2 more goals.
Would I then not get that second chance with these guys because of that, or?
I think I know where you're going with this.
They are above 20, which means we don't need a club coach.
I think that your term automatically goes to the next, even though that the club is now, let's say, 20, or it's above 12 even for that matter. I believe that you still are assigned that club, even though that they may be over 12, or even maybe if they get to 20.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. I mean, the strategy for you, I don't know exactly where you are with regards. I think you mentioned this to me earlier. The education
Yeah,
goals
yeah,
are the
they're
ones that are
yeah.
challenging.
If the open house succeeds and they pick up two new members, then 7, 8, 9, and 10 have been fulfilled.
Correct. That'll be 4.
And
And then
then
you're looking for a CL.
we're looking for a second. Well, we're looking for a second. Well, we're going to be 1 CC short.
Okay, so it's not documented there yet, but I'm assuming you have one
Well,
already kind of in the bag, if you will.
He hasn't finished the CC yard, but when we get that downloaded, then we'll be 1 short anyway.
Right.
What
Yeah,
could
that'll be unfortunate.
Yeah, what could I mean? Unless the gentleman that I'm coaching does 2 speeches quickly. He already did his icebreaker.
And that's possible. So
If he does his 2 speeches because my club meets weekly, fortunately.
okay.
If he does his 2 speeches quickly, then yes, I can dump my ACG, and that will give him the 5.
I see.
Other than that, we're probably going to be short. And CLs, I think there's one aspect of the CL manual that very few have done yet, and that's why they're 9 out of
They're
10.
struggling maybe in that regard.
Yeah.
Okay. So your membership looks good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I have enthusiastic membership. The problem is that being at a company club, that being a corporate club, they're not there all the time.
I see.
They don't give their speeches.
Okay.
Although the one thing that we did change in their corporate structure, their corporate culture, is to double the number of meetings
Okay. Yeah.
from 12 to 24.
So it's really
And
kind of
that,
getting people signed up
yeah,
or signed up for roles in the meeting, I should say.
yeah, that's been the difficulty, but that's most clubs.
Okay. I think that's probably where we have to. Do you know the vice president of education really well, and do you think that they're
Well,
doing
actually,
a
he has
good
not
job
been.
of monitoring?
Well, he has not been attending the meeting since January.
Yeah, that's tough when you have a VPE that's not engaged, and there's really then probably nobody that's tracking each of the members' goals and maybe not motivating that person to take on the roles that they need to.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I understand and I sometimes struggle with is just being able to devote the time, and even if it's only 15 minutes on I know our time is valuable after our work, but sometimes you just have to say, you know what, I need to call you Sunday at 7:30 p.m. and let's see where you are for 15 minutes. Come prepared, just get your CC manual, your CL manual, what have you, and let's see what we can knock out.
Right.
What kind of like for CL, what kind of roles have you taken that have been documented in meeting minutes? And that's another thing too. If your secretary or whoever hasn't taken meeting minutes, then that's tough to prove that they've actually done it. Yeah,
right.
Agendas are good, but they're not the official document that says what happened in a meeting, because as you probably all well know, roles can change at the last minute.
Right.
And that's where the secretary really has to take responsibility to say, whoever so-and-so did timer, not, Joe did timer, not Sally. Sally was signed up, but Sally wasn't there.
Right.
Joe filled in. So Joe can get credit for being a timer, and on a particular date, all he needs is somebody to acknowledge it and to have some level of understanding that what he did and how he did it. And those evaluations in the CL manual are very simple to do, but there just needs to be somebody that was there to basically validate, besides the secretary, how did they do? Oh yeah, I remember Joe did that, and he did okay with this. I give him a 2 and a 2 and a 3, and then maybe a couple of couple
Yeah.
anecdotal information.
Yeah,
It doesn't need to be fine, doesn't need to be. It can be done after the fact.
Right. The only problem that I'm noticing is the high performance leadership
Oh, the
project.
HPLs are tough.
Manual. That's the problem. And I don't think any of the members have done a high performance leadership.
I think that the HPL, or is it a part of an HPL committee, or is it
Yes.
actually doing the HPL?
Doing the HPL itself.
Okay.
Oh,
For
well,
what? For HPL?
actually, Scott, both. If there's been no HPL committees, then nobody was able to serve on it.
Yeah, that's
Well,
a good
hang on.
question. Yep.
If you're talking
Go ahead.
about, are we talking about the CL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That doesn't require any high performance leadership.
I think there's some like committee member or
Right, but not for HPL. It's just serve as a committee member to do something like organize your club open house or do some other activity like that that benefits the club in some way. It's really not, it has nothing to do with HPL.
Yeah, well, I agree with HPL. Chairing HPL is a separate issue.
Yeah.
But my point is that it's not required for competent leadership.
But if there's really no high performance leadership committee, then nobody's able to serve on it.
But that's not relevant to competent leadership. That's relevant to the HPL later on and other things. That's not relevant to the CL. Nobody has to serve on the HPL committee to get their CL.
Yeah, the HPL guidance committee is, I don't know if what I'm familiar, I'm actually going through an HPL right now, and my guidance committee is Don Schultze and Kathy Donovan and Andy Kish. Yeah. And they're helping me through the club coaching. Actually, I'm doing an HPL and club coaching. So part of what I'm doing now is basically part of my HPL. It's a long, drawn out one, but it's an HPL nonetheless. And they are actually serving as a committee member, kind of guiding me, so that they would be able to get some sort of a mentoring credit.
Okay, I'm saying
project number 9 there.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I was looking at HPL and I didn't even consider the mentoring.
Yep. So it's part of the mentoring there. You can mentor a new member or an existing member, or being an HPL guidance committee member. So kind of being a person who's guiding another person through their HPL, not the person doing the HPL themselves. Yeah. I think that's what Rob was trying to say.
Yeah.
No,
I got it now.
Any way, shape, or form related to high performance leadership. In order to earn your competent leader, the project that has to do with like chairing a committee or helping somebody else chair a committee, I think those are two separate projects. I was trying to find if I had a copy of my CL manual handy.
Actually, I've got one up. I've got one. I've got it up on my screen, actually, the CL manual projects. So.
Okay, so like project,
here's one here. Project 6 is organization and delegation, where's a lot of their organizing club events, contests.
So you see for project 9, you only have to complete one of those 3 items is the key. You do not have to do all 3. So there is no requirement to be an HPL guidance committee member to complete your CL. So if people in the club are misguided and thinking that somebody has to be doing their HPL or else I can never complete my CL, that's false.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's misguided. I appreciate the clarification.
That's good. I like bringing up these the actual CL. I mean, I like printing these out. You can get the, it's nice that you can search in Toastmasters, or you can get print these out and just use them. These are really good. I should print these out right now. I'm gonna print this out because I'm gonna bring them to my club meeting, and I'm gonna say, okay, guys, fill this thing out, because sometimes it's very difficult to do that. I'm printing a couple of these out on my printer downstairs. So, if they forget their manuals, you know what? take the initiative, print these suckers out, bring it to there, and say, okay, let's fill them out. Let's go through the agendas, or let's go through the minutes if we can, and if we've got minutes, then let's rock and roll. Go back in time, and we'll get you. Say this is the date. Here's your your evaluation, and let's count it. So yeah, so that's a little bit about the CL manual. I'm glad that we took the time to maybe clarify that particular point. There may be some misconceptions out there, so I'm glad to be able to walk through that with you guys. Mm. Let me stop there and maybe take some questions from you if you have any other specific ones. I know we've talked a little bit about some of the items tonight. What can I do to kind of help you out here? Rob, anything from your side that you're looking for that I could help with?
Would you say, like, for really trying to be effective as a coach in a case where I'm trying to build membership, that obviously getting an open house going soon is important.
Yes.
Beyond that, would you think doing a moments of truth in the near future should be a priority?
Yeah, I think that would be good. Let me see if I can find, again, I think you can find moments of truth on the, let me see if I can go back.
I think I've seen it before. I think I've looked over the materials. I think we had one of our members do a moments of truth once in the 3 years or so that I've been in Heartbeat Toastmasters, but that club's doing well. But it might be good to do in my club that I'm coaching. So I have some familiarity with it. My understanding is it takes pretty much we devoted an entire club meeting to it because it's it's not a 10 or 15 minute presentation. It's more of a exercise the club walks through that might take, 45 minutes or something to that effect.
That's correct. Yeah, there's a presenter, and then they kind of go through. There's actually, I think there might be some slides in here that goes over that.
Okay. So yeah, so do you think those are the right priorities, though, trying to drive towards open house and maybe doing a moments of truth in the near future, and then kind of following where the moments of truth points to a little bit for trying to?
Yep, I would agree.
Okay. I think my only other challenge that I see really in the near future is I'm a little worried about having enough club officers, even because the membership's down to 9. Currently, some of the officers are doubled up. One concern I have is the current VPE is kind of negative towards pathways, and that's not a combination. That really seems toxic to me. If I've got somebody that's feeling questionable towards pathways, they're probably not the ideal candidate to fill that VPE slot. Although if they're nominated for it, then I may have to figure out how to try to work tactfully. May I have some conversations with the existing club president, see what her feelings are about it. Maybe she can help me with that, because it's again, that club president is Kathy Hayes, so she's very experienced.
Yeah,
might be a resource. But I feel like that's an objective of mine to find a way to get us a VPE who's not negative towards pathways.
Do you know what do they have a legitimate gripe, or what is it just more kind of based on emotion, and did they really know what they're getting into?
Yeah, I think I've heard a couple of complaints that I've tried to address a little bit in terms of one was there was a concern raised by the group, not just by this one person who's VPE, but it seems like the club in general has some older members that have been in Toastmasters for a long time, really kind of fairly set in the old education track, and are struggling a little bit to adopt. Not everybody. I mean, Kathy Hayes, club president, she's fully embracing pathways, diving in, both feet, she's making great progress. She's already, I think, somewhere level 3, level 4 in her first pathway.
Whoa.
Which is
that's brilliant.
Right? Because we just started in February, so that's impressive. So,
absolutely.
But most of the other club members, two of the concerns I've heard raised, I think one was around, hey, it's hard for me to know where I'm going in this pathway relative to the manual. In my manual, I used to be able to just thumb ahead and see, you know, all the speeches I was going to have to do. If I had to do 10 speeches, I could look ahead and see what every one of those speeches was ahead of time.
Right.
I feel like I don't have that transparency with pathways, so I did a little bit of looking around, and I found, personally, I thought the Pathways catalog was a pretty good answer to that concern. It's the 66-page or so PDF document that, especially if you're doing it electronically, is nice because because it's clickable, you can jump around in it by clicking, you know, links. So, like, if you click a link on one of the early like maybe one of the first pages has the 10 pathways, and then you click a link and you drill into that pathway, and then you can actually see all the projects that are part of that pathway. So I felt like it addressed some of that concern. So I did
Sure, there's some visibility there then, a little bit.
At least
There's another resource.
verbally, I shared that. Oh, go ahead. Somebody else's.
Yeah, Tom, you're a Pathways guide, actually. Maybe you can. Were you a Pathways guide?
Yeah, I am a Pathways guide. I'm looking at that. There is a District 4 website.
Your voice was, to me, breaking up a little bit. Maybe can you repeat?
There is a District 4 website that has educational resources and is an excellent guide to the various path projects and paths you go on.
Do you have that link available that you could share in the, let's say, the chat window, Tom? Is that something that you can pull up, you know, relatively quickly, maybe in the next five minutes before we leave, and then that might be a good reference.
Well, I'm looking for it right now.
Okay. Well, that would be great if you could share that, if you do have it. Rob, I guess, has a Pathways guide been present or evident to help in that regard with Pathways in general?
That's a good question. I'm not sure offhand who the Pathway Guide is for that club, but I mean, I feel fairly familiar, and I went ahead and myself recently, I'm working on trying to DTM into, so I'm mostly focused on old education track personally.
Right.
But I recently dove into Pathways and selected my first pathway and gave my icebreaker to start getting some more familiarity with Pathways.
That's great. I think that's part of the equation, really, is just jumping in and going for it. I know it's a little bit scary and you're not sure where to step, but I think that you just gotta start. I think that you're doing. I think that's a great start.
My VPE of my home club is, I don't think she serves as Pathways guide, but she was like a Pathways. It was like a learning master or whatever. She was one of the like beta testers for Pathways before it ever came out. And she also, like her day job, she works in Cornerstone every day, which is, if you don't know, the underlying software that supports Basecamp is Cornerstone.
Perfect.
So she's an excellent resource that I have easy access to.
Absolutely.
And help. So
you couldn't get any better.
Available there. So I'm trying. That's one concern. Well, the other concern was they wondered if some of the one or two club members expressed a possible concern that they felt like maybe the projects for some of the speeches and pathways were maybe more highly prescriptive of the topic than in the old track, in a way that might make it such that they were wondering or concerned about, hey, if we get a bunch of people going through pathways, are we going to hear a bunch of almost the same speech or not? You know, and so I tried to address that question a little bit, but that's one I feel like, you know, I don't know if I have the ideal answer to yet or not, but that's another concern that they raised. But those were only two specific things that I heard them raise so far as specific concerns or complaints about pathways.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think there is just a general kind of degree of negativity toward the major change.
Okay. Tom, you mentioned that that wonderful District 4 Toastmasters site.
It's sitting there in the, I just
That
sent it
chat
out to
window.
everyone.
I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys have seen the District 4 Toastmasters.org website. I'll tell you what, it is really well put together. This is probably one of the best websites I've ever seen with regards to the way that it is organized and has a ton of information in here. I have no problem with copying these guys and looking on this. I mean, I mean, we like our site, but if our site is giving you some grief, this is a really good alternative.
And it should be. They're basically up the peninsula. They're below San Francisco.
Yep.
I would hope
Wonderful.
those folks would be into this.
Yep.
But again,
So good link there. Rob, did you capture it?
Yes.
Okay, super. All right, Fred, I guess any questions from your perspective? I know I talked to you early on in the conversation, but I wanted to give you an opportunity as well to ask any questions that you might have with your situation. And we walk through your
Well,
OCLC club.
my
And
situation is somewhat typical of most clubs. It's trying to get folks motivated to become leaders, and officers, and to get into training.
yeah, that's a difficult one. You know what? I just let me tell you a brief story, about a 30-second story for what I did today. I got in my club. There was a person who was relatively new in the club, and I told her that, you know, it would be great for her to take a leadership role. And I told her my story, basically. Just maybe a year into my Toastmasters, a person wanted me to be president. I was like, you got to be crazy. I don't know anything. She said, you'll be great. So I took the plunge, and it was one of the greatest things I ever did, because that's just kind of given me a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence to do so. So hopefully that can be, you know, kind of an inspiration. You know, yeah, it's a little bit scary, but let it take you places. Yeah, you won't know everything, but you can really learn as you go. A lot of people are going to support you throughout the district. So that's kind of my brief story about that today. And she was inspired by that. She came up and she talked about, she did the word of the day, and she used me as a prop because the word had to do with something I told her. The word was optimal, and she said, there's no real optimal time to do this. You just have to do it. And I'm inspired by what you said. So anyways, hopefully that can help you a little bit.
Yeah.
Tom, anything from your perspective that you need some assistance on?
Just need some new members for the club.
So that's the one. Yeah, you're the one that I think you need 6 more, correct?
Yeah, we were at 20, I guess, June 30.
And
June 30th.
did you just have an open house yesterday, or tomorrow? Is it tomorrow?
We had one a week. We had one a week ago.
Okay, last week then.
And we got about maybe half a dozen new people there.
Okay, so you got 6 new ones, and
well, we had 6 people show up who weren't club members.
Okay.
One of them definitely has signed up. Another one says he may. He seems to be shopping clubs through Meetup, but we're looking perhaps to have some more here. But it is getting better.
Take a look at the incentives. I think that there might be some membership incentives out there for the new member, and the club, a couple of the officers in the club, whether it's the president or the VPM.
Yeah.
So there might be some opportunities to get some incentives. There might not be huge incentives, but nonetheless, they could be helpful to a new member get some materials or what have you in the club, or for their own benefit, or for the club.
Yeah, this is something we'll have to explore.
I believe there might be.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can get you some more about the incentives. I know I get a whole bunch of things across my email. Let me see if I can find something for you guys. So I'll follow up with you, Rob, on the pathways stuff a little bit afterwards here, and then make sure that hopefully the VPE there can help be a positive influence or more positive influence going forward.
Okay. And I noticed one thing, I hadn't looked a lot yet at some of their online presence. I noticed just now their free Toast site is really not, like, it's pretty much I think what I would envision the generic
Extremely
version
generic.
of a free Toast site to look like. Like, it's got their Kitty Hawk Toastmasters 1108 at the top, but the main panel has your custom heading here, and like it looks like the template, not a
it hasn't been customized yet or filled in.
Right. So I will try to find out who in the club has the login. Do you know what the process is if they've lost their credentials to manage their free Toast site?
I think any member can. There usually is an admin right to that. Are you familiar with the admin rights?
Well, I'm not very familiar with free Toast just because my home club's a corporate club, so we don't really use the free Toast site. We just use more of a corporate intranet presence.
So somebody would have to have their site admin credentials, and usually the officers should know that, not just let's say the VPPR, the public relations person.
I'll certainly start there. I was just wondering, like, what's my backup plan if none of the club officers seem to know the site admin login for their.
Tom, do you have any insight into that?
Yes. Do you know Patty Black at all?
Patty Black, yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Do you know Patty?
Patty.
No, I don't think I do yet.
Okay, we had that same problem at our club. Our person who had access to the website dropped out, taking the password with her. Patty did a lot of digging to, recover it and get our site going again. This is my
Restore and recover.
Yes, and she could fill you in on the process there.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she's going to be at the district meeting this coming weekend.
Are you going to be there, Rob, or?
I'll be there on Saturday.
Okay, me too.
Yeah. But Patty knows.
Patty, and what's her last name?
Patty Black, B-L-A-C-K. She's very distinguished in the group. She has a couple DTMs, and she's been around for quite a while. If I can maybe meet you on Saturday, maybe I can introduce you to her. She's very active.
Okay.
I've got a note here to maybe even before then, at least get you engaged with her email-wise from an email perspective.
Okay.
And that may help with the free Toast administration there.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I know they actually did recently have somebody stop by as a guest to their club that found them on Meetup. So they apparently do have a Meetup presence at least. So that actually, I was actually surprised when I heard that because obviously they haven't done anything with their free Toast site. But anyway, so I was pleasantly surprised to hear that. So I want to go look at that presence as well and see if they've got anything on Facebook, and try to help get some of those things going a little bit stronger on the online side. And then they meet at a college, and I don't think done a lot yet to market to faculty or students, and I think
right then and there,
yeah.
I'm going to put her email address in
the chat.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That would be perfect.
Thank you, Tom.
One thing that's been really useful about getting more involved with the pathway guide and the club coach is I'm finding out what my strengths actually are and where I end up pushing myself. I know where things are far.
Well, I think that's one of the purposes of these webinars is not necessarily for anybody to present. It is really to collaborate and share information. That's one of the things that I learned today. That it's really about, about a conversation and not a presentation. And I hope that this was conversational, it was educational, and hopefully inspirational for you. So it gives you maybe just some things to work on there. I see Patty Black, pblack345@gmail.com there. Thank you, Tom. All right, we went over just a little bit, but I'm glad to stay on if you need for another couple minutes. Make sure you captured all the items in the chat windows that you need to, or maybe another question. I may not distribute this. I did record this. I don't think I'm going to distribute this because it does have some relatively sensitive information about clubs. We did talk. I don't want this to be, some place where maybe some people get the wrong impression. But I don't think I will mass distribute this particular one. I may just share it with a couple of coaches, if that's okay.
Fine.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I think that's probably makes sense. I think
probably a good idea, since we did talk a little bit about the quality of specific clubs, and some people may or may not agree with your assessment, and I don't want this to be a back and forth, if you will. It's certainly your highly skilled opinion, or your opinion, at least at this point in time, and it does not need to be too public, if you will, mass public. It needs to be directed towards specific people in the club and privately.
Mm-hmm.
sounds good.
So that's what I will do, since but I may cut it off at the Q&A part. How about that? Maybe that'll be, I can edit the video and just kind of go through some of the specifics and not get real too personal. But I'll make that decision here. I'll make a good decision.
All right, we'll trust you. That's
well, I hope to see you all at the spring conference this Saturday. I will be there as well, and so hopefully we'll be able to say hey and do a little bit more powwow on club coaching if necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for your time, everybody, and have a good evening.
You too, Scott.
Take care.